not a fun day. And Tuesday, another blues day. Wednesday's getting better, Thursday doesn't matter, and Friday is the last day. And then it's W-E-E-K-E-N-D, it's weekend. W-E-E-K-E-N-D, it's weekend. W-E-E-K-E-N-D, it's weekend. W-E-E-K-E-N-D, it's weekend.
It is weekend, and it's a rainy weekend. Hey, everybody, welcome back home, y'all. What's up? If you're watching us with your eye holes, I look like I have this weird sheen over my head. I think hopefully it's just the new Samsung they threw in here. Hey, everybody, what's up? Welcome back home. Gather around, cheer and gather around. Grab your favorite poison as well, because it's time for, in fact, it's time for the Club with Lucas on 106.9 FM. It's a couple minutes past 11 o'clock on a Saturday, even though it's a rainy motherfucking Saturday. You already know where to be. Okay. And we're going to have a BCN exclusive, actually, an exclusive in English for Catalonia today, because that's why I'm telling you to grab your poison, because we're going to have a couple of love-filled hours here. And I'm not even alone, actually, because Sir John Ellis is actually joining me from the Comedy Clubhouse right now. In fact, he's sitting right next to me. If you want to say, hey.
What's up, everybody?
What's up? Thank you so much for being here, man. And not only that, for bringing some of the tribe with you, because he, my good people, is one of the minds behind the Barcelona Fringe Festival that's popping off. Now, it has its roots, as we already know, in the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, which started, well, we might even throw a little bit of history into that. I don't know if we have to later.
Yeah, we can do a little bit of history.
Off like we should. But, okay, which is actually the oldest performing arts festival in the fucking world, at least in the Occidental world. I don't really know about China, let's be real. Okay. But we're bringing it here, and we got a plethora of languages. We got a plethora of people coming on for over the next 2 hours, as well as news that you can use here in English, because nobody serves it up to you the way I do. And lots of music. Now, we're going to get eclectic today, actually. So as our fellow sisterin and brethren join us, we're going to get eclectic with the music as well. In fact, we have a few choices from them as well. And we're going to be kicking out with them. And so, oh, yeah, wait a minute, children. I have to remind you, you have to follow us at 106.9 FM. In fact, you can follow us on YouTube with your eye holes at RCE 106.9 FM, 106.9 FM all over Catalonia, RCE.cat. And you got to follow my ass on Instagram at The Club with Lucas. But also, me and my sister from another Mr. Lady TV personality from the U.S. And her new show is also on Pluto TV and Rakuten here. Kelly Ellis have just popped off on our podcast, and we've been recording it since the spring and summer. But we're finally releasing it to the masses, and I want you to follow us there, too, my beautiful children, on Spotify at Design Meets Life, and on Instagram at Design Meets Live Podcast. Thanks, everybody. Now, let's get pitter-patter. Let's get at her. Like I said, we're going to get eclectic with the music today, and so the first couple of tracks are actually old Frisco disco tracks. What do I mean by Frisco disco? Well, the San Francisco disco DJs of that time, the late 70s, early 80s, really had a different sound that was more tuned into Europe and Asia. And, of course, because of all the Mexicans in California, they had a lot of Latino flair into it. So they would mix this really different hodgepodge of disco that was not the same that you would get in London, New York, Chicago, and that area back east. This is one of them. And if anybody knows house music, and I know a lot of my babies here do, you've heard this before. This is a track by Atmosphere called Motivation. We're only going to play, it's a 9-minute track. Hail to the now. We got news to get to. But we're only going to play about 3 or 4 minutes. But if you can hear the house music behind this, I just want you to know this track is now 43 years old. Okay, kids, that's how young you are. We'll be right back in 3 minutes. Now, if you didn't get that, there was a song in the mid-'90s by the Bucketheads, which was actually Masters at Work, Louis Vega and Freddie Gonzalez. And from New York, because you already know I know my people, and they used that sample, and they were one of the first in-house to automatically just give the list, give them the rights. Okay, we're using this sample because at the time people were sampling like Vanilla Ice. If anyone remembers that crap. Do you remember Vanilla Ice?
Yeah.
Ice. And he tried to say that he was not ripping off from dun 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 dun, dun. And ours is dun 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 dun. Oh my God. I don't know if you remember this stuff, but I'm an MTV kid, and if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. Children, we have a lot to talk about, so let's get to it. Breaking news, everybody. Breaking news. There's drama. Drama, I tell you, with the left here in Spain. So yesterday, and I don't know, this sometimes, you know, people have those faces that you just love to hate, you know, because they, like Leonardo DiCaprio for me is one of those. I think he's a great actor, but he's got a face that screams, hit me, because it's still kind of 12 when he was on that show with Kirk Cameron, the very Christian Kirk Cameron. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And one of these guys is a gentleman named, well, I don't want to say gentleman because apparently he's not, or at least allegedly, but he's actually one of the head leaders of Mas Madrid, which was a staple that came out of the Podemos political party, you know, when that whole split with Sumar and things of that nature happened over the last couple of years. He's been accused by 3 women as being investigated by the police right now of sexually harassing and perhaps doing much more, abusing 3 women as well. And the thing is that all 3 of them are saying that he's a sexual manipulator, like a deviant. Like he uses his, you know, because he's such a good guy and he's apparently quite left. So very pro-woman, pro-rights, pro-Me Too, pro...
On paper.
Mm-hmm. And then behind the scenes with the gangster lean, he has been doing some heinous stuff that has come out. And if I could get this to... His name apparently is Errejón. And it's just funny because the first 3 letters of his name, well, half his name is ERR. And if you've learned from the English language, you know, you're erring on the side that's wrong with that. He has gone ahead and left his post. And that has, according to some of the press, they're saying that is sinking Sumar and accentuating the internal differences. Well, of course it is, because this was a political party that was set up off the offshoots of many political acts that were passed in the Congress and a few years ago protecting women and trans and things of that nature. One of the things that also led to coming out of just before the weekend is that there's going to be a major push by the Spanish government to enact something that Iceland did that has reduced the amount of attacks that people are getting through phones, whether it's hustles or those bot calls or things of that nature, by 90%. So they're actually taking up this. It's called the Estafa Telefónica Bloqueo, and this block on this would actually be helping to reduce any outside calls or any unlisted numbers would not be able to come through into your mobile now.
Great.
It was easy apparently to apply in Iceland. It's going to take a little bit more time to apply here because, of course, we have 4, 5, 6 times the population of Iceland. And for that reason, now that will be enacted sometime within the next few months if it's approved. I remind you that although Pedro Sanchez, not his wife, but Pedro Sanchez controls the parliament, and Moncloa rather, the higher cabinet in the Senate is controlled by the PP. So that is often why things can't get passed. Let's talk about some other breaking news, because we are just 10 days away, and we're also waiting for some people to show up. But we are just 10 days away from the United States elections. And I think I'm going to get sick. A lot of things are happening in this election, actually, over the last few weeks that we haven't been here. And I'll explain why I haven't been here. I'll explain right now. We had, in my life, there's been not only the launching of this podcast that I mentioned earlier, but my father reinstalling himself to live with me, which has been very fun after traveling for a while. He's been all over the world. Okay, Europe is the world. That's a terrible thing to say. I take that back. And so this month I had to take some time off because it took on a whole host of new business clients and teaching stuff, and I'm just inundated. But I'm glad to be back here with you, because while we've been gone, Israel has continued to screw up everything. The elections are 10 days away, and it is truly neck and neck. In fact, as you look at the aggregate of polls, depending on what you're looking at, everybody, it is 47-47, 48-48, or 49-49. That is what it is. Now, those are the national polls. However, when you then take it further into the battle state grounds, now the battleground states rather, are those states where they're kind of purplish and they could swing either towards the conservative right or the liberal centrist left. I mean, they're not AOC or Bernie Sanders, but I think she would like to be. I think she's playing it cool right now. But I don't think she'd like to be if she gets power. Now, Lady K is winning 2. He's winning 2, and they're tied in 2. And I forget, the other one's a toss-up. I forget which state it is. Georgia. Georgia's become a toss-up because a month ago it was her. The last 2 weeks has been him, and now it's a toss-up again. So we've got 2, 2, 2, and a toss-up. It's scary. I would like to say I finally mailed in my vote yesterday. And I've done my duty to help save my country. At least it's how I feel.
Yeah?
Oh, man.
Wait, who'd you vote for? Just checking.
You already know. Am I a gay homosexual? And in my very, very, very young life, I have found that polls are often misleading, and polls are often also misleading. But it's interesting how the analysts are revealing ways that either candidate, no matter what, it can either very much break over the electoral ballots. It can either be 300 plus for her or 300 plus for him. Now, they do say there's a slight lead towards her taking it because of certain things that are going on. Like, let me ask what you kids think. I have to wet my palate. Can you hear that? I can't stand that shit. Can you hear that? It's AMSR or whatever the hell it's called. But hello. Yesterday, she was Lady K, Kamala Harris. Hey, yes, we can. Was with Beyonce in Texas, and it was beautiful. I sound like Oprah now. And she really laid it down last night, really, with Beyonce on stage. It was beautiful, and Beyonce's going to reveal what she whispered into her. But it doesn't matter because she had a rousing scores of thousands. And yes, she is actually repeating many of the same lines that she's been stating for a while now. But this week, it was revealed that a plethora of the top generals and the right chief of staff to Donald Trump all claim that he is not only fascist leaning, he is completely a fascist, and that he would take the state, as he's saying, on day one, he would be a fascist leader only on day one. They believe that he would be a fascist leader as well forever. Why? Because even this week, he said that he would have the military take over any action that he deems unnecessary, that he would close. For example, he wants to revoke the license to CBS and MSNBC. He would also attack journalists that don't favor what he wants. And he also stated, and this is not a joke, he said this many times, that he wants to round up the Biden crime family, the Obamas, the Clintons, and of course Kamala and her Jewish husband, and send them to tribunals in Guantanamo Bay.
That's unbelievable.
But on top of that, what he did last week was when he had a town hall, and for those of my Catalan and brethren, and international brethren and sistren who don't know, when they host town halls in many Five Eye English-speaking countries, it's where they go into a city, usually an outside suburb, and they have people from the community come in and ask direct questions for usually 60 to 90 minutes. And they answer it. Trump took 4 questions, and then somebody fainted. A man. They revived him, but while they were reviving him, he said his people, "Put on Ave Maria." And so they put on Ave Maria. And as Stephen Colbert duly noted, when someone's unconscious on the ground, maybe the song you don't play is Ave Maria, which is often a funeral song. But anyway, Trump digressed and then went on, and somebody else fainted, an older woman. So he told them to put on Ave Maria again. And then when they revived her, and I'm not kidding, he said, and I quote, "All right, anybody else want to faint? Love." Just, nothing says love like, what is it called? Caring conservatism, as they used to say. Ha! And so then, after trying to make sure no one else was going to steal his thunder by fainting, he proceeded to play 9 songs for 40 minutes and dance around, firstly, to Pavarotti's version of Ave Maria, because he got a little verklempt that they weren't playing the vocal version. They just kept playing the instrumental version. And then he went on to play Sinead O'Connor, YMCA, and dance around like a fucking idiot, like he was milking giraffe cock. It was insane. And then at the very end, he ended with the extended version of November Rain by Guns N' Roses. It was insane. You've heard about this. Did you see this?
No, I haven't seen any.
And then he went to McDonald's after that, that weekend, and put on a fries and was surprised that they don't touch the fries when they're serving them.
This I saw, yeah.
Clean hands, Marisol, whatever her name was. It's just sad. All in the name of Elon Musk, because at the same time, that mother effer, South African, pro-apartheid piece of crap, has been paying $1 million a day to people who will support his PAC, which is, of course, supporting Trump, but also are going to be pro-vote. They have to be pro-vote, and he'll give them $1 million. the funny thing is that when he's giving them the checks, on the pay to the order of, there's nothing there, and he puts their name under the amount part. And then he signs his, not under the signature holder, he signs it in the middle of the check at the bottom, next to the signature holder thing. I.e., the checks are fake, but the Department of Justice and Department of Defense have come in and say, this is unlawful. You cannot be paying people to do a PAC that is supporting a candidate because this is interference. And paying $1 million to people, this is, to me, this is complete. This is the sickening part of what makes people hate the United States of America. It is. It's this consumeristic, and the fact that the consumeristic mentality, and the fact that this man not only is being told this, but he is now, as of yesterday, under investigation. Hold on, let me get this right. For having dozens of meetings with presidents, prime ministers, and political candidates to grow his political influence. Specifically, he's had several, apparently, with Putin, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu during the past year, and Argentine President Javier Milei. Now, if you don't see a connection to the far right through those three, well, open your fucking eyes, please. But this man is now being investigated for all of that, on top of the fact of reminding people how this man made his money and got on the top list of everything else. Now, if anybody else, I'm still totally killing time, by the way. So I don't normally do so much time of news, but I want to get to the Fringe Festival. We do have an hour and 35 more minutes to get to, my loves. But has anybody seen the Netflix documentary, or documentary, it feels like it, at the end anyway. It's a movie starring Javier Bardem, two beautiful boys, and Chloe Sevigny, my badass bitch. I love you so much, Chloe. Thank you for doing what you've always been doing, and for keeping it real. God, I could not, it was weird to see her playing their mother, though. Of the Menendez brothers, have you seen Monsters?
No, you were telling me about it the other day. That sounds hectic.
Children of the Corn. Children of the Corn. I know everybody has Monsters. In fact, Netflix is the most watched thing now, apparently, on European television. It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's called Monsters, and the rape case that has had them in prison now for 30 years is actually going to be restarted again. They have always maintained that they killed their parents, but they've maintained it that because they were sexually abused by their father for years. After not only the release of this show, obviously this movie brought a lot of attention to it, but the Peacock docuseries last year, they are re-announcing that they're going to take up this case again, and they're going to start investigating it because they also believe that there might be ties to this man, their father, who's played by Javier Bardem, who is not a rapist or pedophile. He's the national treasure, bitches. But it could be that he actually had a connection to Menudo. And if you don't know who Menudo was, that's where Ricky Martin came from. So, yet again, another case unfolds itself. By the way, that was NASA. NASA is asking that the government and more people start investigating Elon Musk for what he's been doing with the president, with the phone, with the talks to other people. Anyway, I wanted to also say there's two more things that I needed to mention from here. Because one of the things that I wanted to I didn't want to get deep and dive into it, and then we're going to get into some music. But I did take some time off this past month because I had 2 suicides in my surroundings that has never happened in my life. And it happened on the same day. Within 10 minutes, I was notified of them. And within 10 minutes, one of them survived, and it was incredible because they survived from 3 times the height that Liam Payne, rest in peace, died from. I can't even. But yesterday, 2 sisters, aged 64 and 54, committed suicide in a flat in Carrer de Novas, Tolosa, in Sant Andreu. They did this because they were about to be evicted this week for non-payment of rent because they truly, truly could not afford it. The Mozos de Escuadra had informed them that they were going to be doing it, and because they had no recourse, or they felt they had no recourse, they jumped. It's horrifying. They jumped in the Patio de Luz, 2 sisters, 54 and 64, and killed themselves. And so I just want to say, with all of this that's been happening, this is something that I know for a fact that they've at least stated that they're going to be looking into, because so many certain areas, specifically areas where more higher-end European and American people come to live because they can afford to pay more rent, they're pricing out. It's called gentrification. Children of the Corn, you already know this shit if you're coming from certain big cities. They're pricing out the locals. And this has really happened in specific areas like Sant Andreu Gracia, Horta, Guinardó, and Eixample. And these two women were priced out, and they killed themselves because of it. And I hope that the government takes this into action. Since for the first time in political history of democracy here, Girona, Lleida, Tarragona, and Barcelona are all under a socialist leader, as is the Generalitat de Catalunya, working with Moncloa. So some shit should get done now. So hop, motherfucker, get to work. Here's a little more disco for you, then we're going to get into the Barcelona Fringe Festival. That was a lot of news, and I'm sorry, kids, but thank you for walking it through me. We'll edit the parts that are good for later on Opus Clip. That's not a promo. Rare Pleasure, Let Me Down Easy. This is another disco track, also from the Frisco Disco lineup, but this is another track that has been used so much in house music, specifically in the 90s, and you know I am a 90s baby. Yes, I am 29 years old. All right, kiddos, this is Rare Pleasure, and we'll be right back in 3 minutes.
I can feel it, why not reveal it? Say what you gotta say. I know she's the reason for you leaving. Baby, don't leave me in a hating way. Let me down easy. Let me down easy. Baby, do it easy. I can't stop you. Why should I argue? It won't make you stay. I'd like a string of beads because you snapped the string. My love won't run away. Easy, let me down easy. Baby, do it easy.
Hey, Children of the Corn. Wow. And I have to give a mad shout out to my boy Liam, who's here. Thank you, Liam, for doing this for us. It's his first day we're working together, and it's going smooth like butter. Smooth like butter. And everybody, what am I holding up in my beautiful little hands? And if you saw it, and I know hundreds of you already have, you saw the little story going out last night. This is the promo? No, it's not.
It's the program.
It's the program. What
yeah.
the hell? I just had a total brain fart. That had nothing to do with the hit before I split. The program of the Barcelona Fringe Festival, year one. This is going to be, inshallah, an annual thing. And folks, it is it's a veritable cornucopia of all types of craziness. And I'm going to tell you why. Because it's in a plethora of languages as well, correct?
Yeah, we got 7 different languages, at least.
At least. And if the power of the Holy Spirit takes over, you never know what's going to go on. But on top of that, it's running for 10 days from the 1st to the 10th. which is actually 11. No, it's 10 days. Actually, it started for the first. Sorry, 10 days. Now I'm having a mathematical brain fart. But going on for 10 days all over the city. You have a map in here that. Who is that lovely queen that did this video?
Yeah, Vim. Is our,
Ma'am, you are so. I can't. You're so cute as hell.
she's great.
And the way that they take this out and you can toss it away, it's great. So, folks, you have so much to get to know. We're going to be leaving them around the city. You look for these flyers everywhere. You can also find them wherever good comedy clubs are, for example, like the Comedy Clubhouse BCN. And there's a host of them that we're going to get to the list of the people that are sponsoring and helping out as well.
Nice.
And again, I want to thank you because we're going to be inundating you here through RCE and the club as well as through the podcast, because that's what we do here with our peeps at BC and Fringe Festival. Because one of the things that we want to promote here always through RCE and the Club with Lucas is all the beautiful comedy and the art and the music and everything that goes on in our beautiful city. None other than John Alice actually is it Alice or Alice?
Alice.
Alice, thank you. Is joining me here, and the lovely, I believe, Hannah Becker is about to walk in, like, right totally behind me. If you want to, like, get that at the door. Because when I had just started this show, this beautiful young lady was one of the first people that ever came on here. And this is the first time I'm seeing her in forever, so I'm just going to turn around and give her a big hug. Welcome back. Shiza. It's like a beautiful dream being woven. Oh my god. Yes, let that go, and we're gonna get you some water in just a second as well. Maybe to a song break. As you wish, puppy. As you wish. Rock on. My love, welcome back to the. Okay, I'm saying I was weeks into doing the club. The last time that she was in fact, she was sitting on that side this time. Well, I don't remember actually.
What year was that?
It was right before the pandemic, 2019.
Right? Okay, because I remember I was talking about Hush Hush. Was that what I was here for? Oh my God, like a thing that does not exist anymore.
But so much you have not stopped. And yes, my queen is coming in from the rain.
Yeah,
so my king is running to get us some water, as we do.
Yeah,
up in
rain
here.
should
And
be illegal
if you
in
didn't
Barcelona.
want my Vavas, I'll give you some coffee. Yeah, let's go. But so the king and queen of the Fringe Festival, as we just kicked off, I
Yeah.
did the longest news segment, trying to kill time.
Yeah. Oh my
but the
God,
power
I'm
of
so
Christ
sorry.
compelled, as she will do.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, sir. And it is time to talk about that because in just a few days, this is the last weekend of October, Children of the Corn. So kicking off the first kicks off the goodness. Now, let's get to a little bit of history if we can. And again, I want to thank you guys so much for being here. And in just a little while, folks, we're also going to be joined later on in the show with at least two, maybe three, at least two more friends joining us who are also kicking it with a gangster lean with us here today. But can we talk a little bit of as I mentioned earlier, about 30 minutes ago, the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, is the oldest performing arts and comedy festival in, well, I'm going to say the Occidental world, because again, I don't know about Asia.
Yeah.
Is it not?
Who knows?
In the Occidental world, but I don't know about Asia. So anyway, the power of Christ compels me to stop saying that. Okay, I've been watching The Exorcist in snippets. I admit it. And it's Halloween. And this started off of that. I'm just curious. Is it because of that? Can we talk about the history of us leading off from that?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely inspired by the Edinburgh. I mean, the Edinburgh Fringe is like such like a reference for any English speaking comedian. It's like Edinburgh is like the place to go, right?
Yeah.
So we thought,
Why not?
why don't we get people to come
Why
to
not?
Barcelona?
We thought we could do it better, to be honest. I've been to Edinburgh and it is expensive and cold and rainy.
Yeah.
When I was there, they were doing a rubbish strike.
So it's raining today for you.
It is, today is raining.
Yeah, but hopefully it doesn't rain November 1st to the 10th. That's the dream. Is we're like, come to Barcelona for the good weather, and then it's like watch it rain for 10 days straight.
And
That's
people
the
are flying
pitch,
in.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we have people coming from all over. We thought like it's pretty easy to convince people to come to Barcelona, right? Like it's like everyone wants to come to Barcelona. It's a great place to be. We've been building up our comedy scene here like over the past couple of years.
Pinche
So-
proud of you, girl. I know. I've been watching from the gangs on the side.
Yeah, I know it's amazing. Yeah, it's like
Honestly.
wild how much has changed since we last
just-
booked.
it
I mean,
just-
yeah, the pandemic was kind of like a big because I think things were like getting really big right before the pandemic, and then that like brought us back to zero. But then
Yeah.
we were able to just build back up so quickly because I mean, luckily Barcelona was one of the only places that had any theaters open, like in the kind of post-lockdown time.
Exactly.
So I think that helped us like kind of establish ourselves as like a pretty strong scene pretty quickly, and then we opened the clubhouse.
Yeah,
And,
which was
you know,
thanks to the pandemic largely as well.
Literally, yeah.
Rents like went rock bottom. No one wanted a bar, so we got it.
Yeah.
We took it. Which
But then maintaining it through the coming back up after 21, 22 is also not the easiest feat.
No.
And when you're an expat making this happen, or an immigrant expat, as I like to say, making this happen in Spain, it can also be a bit of a challenge. Let's
Totally.
be real.
yeah, it's been difficult, but we've been super lucky. I think
Yeah.
so many
It's like
supportive
hashtag
people.
blessed, you guys.
So
it's not
blessed.
just like
Yeah.
Okay, so we come off the fringes of that into making it happen. Over 10 days. I mean, hundreds of shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, 250 shows, something like that.
How many people have been involved in making this come together?
Oh my God.
Come
Well,
to fruition?
organizationally,
Yeah.
I don't even know, because it does just keep like, because we've kind of done everything on a tight timeline, I guess to say it.
Well, it's like the Kamala
just to
Harris
not say
campaign.
like, yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, to not say that like we've been throwing everything together last minute. Like, no, we've been working on a really tight timeline and really trying to get things done. So
Americans and the way we
Yeah,
clean
right?
it up. It's not
Exactly.
a crisis. It's an economic downturn.
exactly, yeah. So that's we've just kind of like been getting people involved as we need them. I know, like, we'll have a meeting every week and John will just be like, okay, like this week we need this, we need that, we need the other thing. Okay, who can do it? Okay, let's like contact this person, ask them to help. And I think we're really lucky that we have such like a strong community around the comedy scene here, because so many people have been willing to step up.
For sure. Yeah, especially, well, I mean, loads of people, but especially with the sponsorship stuff. That's something that I didn't think was going to happen at all. Because it was also last minute. I thought it was a good thing for people to sponsor, but I didn't think it was going to happen. And then a couple of people, Alex and Ava, have gone full gung ho into all of that, and
Yeah.
they've gotten us a whole bunch of sponsors. Vistaprint
to shout
sponsored. Vistaprint sponsored the printing of these, which is, it's 1,500 euros worth of printing that they've given us.
Amazing.
And then Stoke Travel is the other one that's came on board recently. So they're giving us money.
Yeah.
Basically,
Shout out.
just giving us straight up money, and they're also giving away a all expenses paid ski trip to one lucky audience member as well. So if you come, you just put your email address down. They'll do a draw at the end, and you can go to Andorra and ski and drink and party with
The
the
Stoke
boys
people.
over at Stoke Travel. Yeah,
They seem like
Okay,
such
we're
a fun
making
time.
a story of that on Instagram. Are you kidding me?
yeah, that's
So,
true.
all right, folks, I'm going to repeat that. During the Fringe Festival, you go in there, make sure you sign up for a raffle at the end on the 10th or 11th. I guess they'll take the drawing.
Yeah, they'll be taking email addresses throughout the whole festival, so you can, whenever you're at the clubhouse or whatever, you can write your name down, your email down, and that's
It's great. And
that's
the- yeah,
on
the-
the table. Yeah,
The Stoke trips are so wild. I mean, it's like you get to do so. There's just unlimited drinking. I don't know.
Yeah,
It just
it's
seems
like-
like a fun, crazy party. I've seen all the pictures, and it just looks like such a good time.
yeah, it's party traveling. They do like Oktoberfest trips
Yeah.
and stuff like that. That's the
Oh,
that's the
boy.
vibe.
And if you're going to get that now, because it's the perfect time, November, December, when the
Yeah.
skiing gets off in Andorra. Don't forget the shopping. All right, kids, we got so much more to talk about. We got other people coming in just a little bit. I'm going to throw on one track, about a 4 or 5 minute track, then we'll be right back with some more action for you. This is an indie pop artist that I am really digging. They're actually a collective, and I just love it. It's called Heiko Voss. That's Heiko Voss. This is a track they dropped a couple of months ago called, I Think About You. And if you know who you are, I think about you too much. All right, we'll be back on the flip side. Processes of alliteration, children. Okay, welcome back. We are here with Lady Hannah and Sir John of the Fringe Film Festival, Children of the Corn. And let's get to the questions because, well, where do you guys hail from? Like, what brought you to Barcelona?
Well, yeah, I'm from New York, but I've lived here for like 10 years now.
Yeah.
I moved
What
here
part of the city? Oh, what part of New York, excuse me?
from outside the city, the
Okay,
suburbs,
okay.
suburbs of New York, Westchester County.
I was just going to say, are you from Westchester?
I'm
And
a
she's from
Westchester girly. I'm a Westchester girly.
Brooklyn boy.
Yeah,
You see, our people have to stick together.
Yeah.
Shh, don't tell anybody.
New Yorkers all like each other.
And we love it here too for certain reasons.
Yeah, yeah,
How
yeah.
long have you been here?
So yeah, I've been here 10 years. I moved here right after I graduated from
Mm-hmm.
college because I studied abroad here when I was in college.
Okay.
And yeah, so I moved
Had to
back
come
here after
back.
graduation for a boy, of course, and then that didn't work out.
Didn't work out.
What?
Right.
But mine didn't either.
Yeah,
Okay.
I still got the papers, but I didn't.
And you found another boy.
And I found another boy, so now
So it did work out.
It all eventually worked out. Like I always say, like that like love didn't work out, but my love for Barcelona has always worked out.
Remain strong.
Yeah. So
Cute.
yeah, that's
Are we
me.
going to sing this song right now? I think we should. Right? I think so. John, what about you, sir? Where
Uh,
are you coming from, sir?
My accent is from New Zealand.
Hell yeah.
So I've been pronouncing it the Barcelona Fringe Festival, which I'm getting made fun of a lot for.
French.
Fringe Festival. Fringe, the Fringe Festival. So yeah, I moved to Barcelona about 8 years ago. I was working in a boring office job in New Zealand. Didn't like it. And
Which part of New Zealand, if I may ask?
From Auckland, from
Auckland,
the
right
big
on.
city, from the North Shore, Devonport. If anyone wants
North
to get
Shore,
really
yeah,
specific.
from North Shore, Long Island. Okay, whatever.
Actually, I come from where a lot of the America's Cup sailors come from. So my little suburb is a real sailing part of the country. So
yeah.
yeah, loads and loads of people from my hometown been over in Barcelona recently. But yeah, sick, boring office job, selling barcode numbers, answering the phone, that kind of thing. And I wanted a change. I wanted to break out, and I moved to Spain to sell barcode numbers. Actually, kept selling barcode numbers. Still sell barcode numbers.
Yeah.
Códigos de
yeah,
barras
okay.
España, if anyone's in the market.
Are you guys sponsoring the Fringe?
Yeah, sure, kinda.
All the QR codes.
All the QR codes produced by Códigos de Barras España. Yeah, so that was that was 8 years ago, and I started doing comedy here, and I've seen it grow. Started the comedy clubhouse with another guy about three, maybe coming up 4 years ago now.
Yes, sir.
And it's going gangbusters. It's getting
Yeah, and it requires. I mean, sorry for interrupting. You
Sure,
weren't
no.
finished. Well, when you're running any business, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, but something that's so specific and it has its niche, with a specific audience, how much hustle goes into that? I actually want to say it to an international crowd, because I'm realizing more and more with my business clients and students that hustle doesn't necessarily mean much here. And sometimes it does, but what do you say about that, madam?
Yeah, I do think the local culture, like hustling is not really a local culture thing.
Es en plan como...
no offense.
Because in many ways it's beautiful that it's like this is a culture where people their jobs aren't their lives, and they just kind of like do their job and then they go home and do whatever they want to do. So I do think
That is cool for sure.
yeah, so I think that's good in some ways, but I do think the hustle feels different when it's like something that you really love and care about. Like that's
Sure.
how I don't know if you feel that way, John, about the clubhouse, but it's like
It comes and goes.
yeah, definitely there are times when it's like exhausting and you're just like, I want to take a nap. Like, please let me let me go to bed. But I do think it's I feel sometimes like when I'm like, oh, this is crazy. Like we're spending so many hours, or we're doing all this shit. Oh, am I not? Sorry, I shouldn't.
Oh God, I curse like a sailor. He knows.
Okay. I never remember. But yeah, so like you're doing all this shit, and then you're like, but it's fine because we're making something really beautiful happen, and we're making so many people happy, and we're giving so many people a place to be creative and like be,
Exactly.
silly and fun, and
And it goes beyond that. Did I shave my legs for this moment? Yeah, exactly. Don't
For
shave
sure.
your legs, John.
But yeah, John definitely hustles way harder than I do, even for the clubhouse. I mean,
Is that a New Zealand thing?
You do so
Well,
much.
yeah. I mean, Hannah has other jobs that require her expertise. Whereas for me, it's just the clubhouse. That's all I think about. Live and breathe it. Well, I do some other stuff
And
as
some
well.
barcodes.
And the
and
barcodes.
the barcodes.
Perdona.
But the barcodes it doesn't really take up much of my time these days. I have another guy for that. Actually, the same bartender at the comedy clubhouse is my barcodes guy now as well. So
Yeah.
Bar and bar. It's
Yeah.
like it was meant to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
like
And
the
I grew
same
up in
thing.
New Zealand, surrounded by sheep.
And you're in Barcelona.
Everything
sign.
fits.
I feel like I'm in prison, surrounded by bars.
Well, Shiza, sometimes we actually pop on a bottle. That would have been a great thing to do. Should have thought of that. The rain, I don't know. Do you have a dog?
I do not.
Okay. When it's raining like it is right now, Children of the Corn, and you have a dog, it waylays everything. But let's not talk about that right now. The fact of running the comedy club, this is not the only place where the shows are going to be happening, though.
No.
What can we mention some of those as we wait for more of our children to show up?
Absolutely. I mean, Michelle, that's going to be here soon. She has her own venue. She's doing shows at Space Cowboy. It's amazing, actually. Literally everyone that has a comedy place in Barcelona is, at least kind of on the English side of things, is involved with the Fringe. So Barcelona Improv Group, Secret Comedy Club,
Yes.
New
Imperfecto?
Place, Imperfecto,
right.
both of them,
Both
and
Imperfectos,
Pobleno
yeah.
and Parallel. New place just opened. I think you've probably talked about it already on this show, but BCN Studio. It's over in Poble Sec.
It's really.
Exactly.
Have you been there yet?
I haven't.
Yeah, I popped in.
Yeah.
I popped in to drop off some of these programs, and it's
looks
very
great,
nice. Yeah,
right?
they have like proper stadium seating, and
Well, I think they can like put that because like when I went, they didn't have that set up. So it's like they're like very. It's like a cool, flexible space. I think that's like a really exciting kind of space to have. Is that?
This is happening in Poble Sec, you said?
Yeah.
it's in Poble Sec. Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like it's gonna be really cool.
I think actually Ian, when he was here a month ago, He mentioned that was going on.
I think he's doing a play there as part
Okay.
of the Fringe. So yeah, I'm
His
sure he
Traumedy
is.
play.
No.
a
The Traumedy
different
is
one.
his
This
solo
This is
show.
Nicole Colas or whatever.
Well, Nicole's going to be doing Fickle Eulogy. I'm going to
that's
shout out to my
possibly.
girl, Fickle Eulogy. And
It's
She's
oh,
promoting
what
the
is it
crap out of that. I see flyers for
Hells
that
to the-
everywhere.
yeah.
She seems
in
to be
fact, I'm
doing a
looking
great
that
job.
up right now as I speak.
Can't remember what it was called, but I saw.
It is incredible. I love the way that you've broken it down. Now, where did you get? Because it kind of feels like a film. I do a lot of film festival stuff here, and it's giving me that vibe as well, folks. It's also when you're looking at people. For those of you who come out, you can actually pass through the RCE studios and get these as well. You can get these in the clubs, the comedies houses we've just
Yeah,
mentioned.
although
you can get them
they're-
at New Britannia School of English.
Pretty much sold out for this weekend of the programs.
Yeah.
Okay,
We'll be getting more
we're gonna
next
make some
week.
more Children of the Corn. Like I said, you can get them at RCE Studios, at New Britannia School of English, and there's another place that I left them at, and I can't remember where right now. But everything's listed alphabetically as well, and so you can find it easily, and then find the day that it's on, and go through it, and find the time, and everything's also listed for your benefit because organization is key. Who made this?
This is the mastermind Vem who you saw in the video.
Hey!
She does a little bit of everything for
Yeah.
us. She's sort of the creative mind behind our wacky ideas, I guess.
She's amazing.
So yeah, it was her and Jamie mostly that spent a couple of sleepless nights putting this together. This
Yeah.
is the first
a tight
edition.
timeline. It was a tight
It was a tight timeline. And yeah, the reason we got these ones printed and they have about 1 million spelling mistakes
Yeah.
and address mistakes and things like that is we had to get them done.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We last minute somebody was like, "Hey, can I proofread it?" And I was like, "No, no, you can't. I have to order them now because we
Yeah.
need them before the festival." You know?
When did you decide to do this?
Oh God.
Was this a year ago?
No, very much not a year ago. I mean, we've been talking about doing something like this for a while, right? Like this has been something that we've like tossed around the idea, and it's just never seemed like it was the right time. And then I don't know when, at some point this year.
Probably like March, April.
Yeah.
We were kind of like, "Let's do it," and then
Yeah, and I was under the impression when they were like, "We're gonna do it," I was like, "Oh, we're gonna do it next year. Like, we're gonna start thinking about it for next year."
Yeah.
And then suddenly it's like, "So, we need to like figure out how to like do the applications." And I was like, "Wait, guys, wait, no, what? We're doing it this year? Like in like 6 months? Like we're doing it now?" And I always say like this is like very much the comedy clubhouse approach to doing anything is like if we have the idea and it seems good and we like think we can figure out the steps to make it happen, like let's just do it.
Hell
yeah.
Why wait? Why like put it off? Because it's like if you put something off, it's just like maybe not going to happen.
We can apply that to life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I think it is like a good, I mean, I think, it's like how the clubhouse opened in many ways. It's like
Totally.
we had a space and it was just like, let's just start doing shows. Like we don't need to, like, we'll figure the rest of the stuff out. Like let's just do it.
Right, and just the fact that we're doing it this year means that we're going to learn so many things. So when we do it next year, it will be well
So much better, yeah.
organized.
I mean, this is I'm learning with the podcast right now.
Yeah.
This is such, and every little thing is that. And to quote the future president of the United States of America, Kamala Harris, when that door gets slammed in your face, you got to break that fucking door
Yeah.
down.
Exactly,
Her
yeah.
voice like Maya Rudolph can, but damn. All right, I was holding off to play this song because one of our boys that is coming by had chosen it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
But you're gonna miss the good tones, okay? But you can catch it later on the flip side. This is John Paul Young, and if anyone has ever seen Strictly Ballroom, you know what I'm talking about with this song. I think it's this song. Love is in the air.
Classic.
love
It
that
is
song.
classic. So if you feel like shimmying right now, now's the time to do it. Refresh. We're gonna get some more water up in here, and we'll be back in 3.5 minutes. Children of the Corn.
Nice.
Love is in the air, everywhere I look around. Love is in the air, every sight and every sound. And I don't know if I'm being foolish, don't know if I'm being wise, but it's something that I must believe in. and it's there when I look in your eyes. Love is in the air, in the whisper of the tree. Love is in the air, in the thunder of the sea. And I don't know if I'm just dreaming, don't know if I feel safe, but it's something that I must believe in, and it's there when you call out my name. Love is in the air, love is in the air. Oh, love is in the air, in the rising of the sun. Love is in the air, when the day is nearly done. And I don't know if you're illusion, don't know if I see it true, but you're something that I must believe in, and you're there when I reach out for you. Love is in the air, everywhere I look around. Love is in the air, every sight and every sound. And I don't know if I'm being foolish, don't know if I'm being wise, but it's something that I must believe in, and it's there when I look in your eyes. Love is in the air, love is in the air. Oh, 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 love is in the air, love is in the air.
Oh my God, Children of the Corn. That was John Paul Young joining us. I'm John Paul Young joining us. That was John Paul Young, and that was actually chosen by the man who is joining us. Please tell the good people who you are, sir.
Hello there, I am James Regal, and I am a comedian and comedy show producer here in Barcelona.
Hell yeah, man. Where are you from, sir?
I'm from London, England.
Hell yeah. And when you are performing, what days at the Fringe Festival, sir? So we can look that up
Oh,
right now.
that is a good question. So I have my solo show of stand-up, just an hour of me doing stand-up on the, I want to say, 5th and 6th of November at Imperfecto Comedy, and then at the Comedy Clubhouse upstairs in the cafe. I also run Roast Battle Barcelona here. So we've got two shows. I'm going to be roasting the top guy at Roast Battling from Scotland. He's coming here to say horrible things about me.
Was he at the Fringe in Edinburgh?
He was at the Fringe at Edinburgh,
Okay.
yeah. So that's on the 31st at the Comedy Clubhouse and the 1st at Lout, which is a nightclub by Apollo. And then we have my show Lolly Amorous, which was part
Can
of
you
the
repeat
reason
that? Then we have your what?
What's that?
We have your what? I'm sorry?
My show
Lolly.
Lolly Amorous.
What's that about? Can you give us a preview?
Sure. It's a live speed dating show. Yes. So what happens is people from the audience, we let them, we pick them at random from buckets that they've put their names into. They get to have 2 minutes on stage to get to know each other, have a little date. And then after that, myself, another comedian, and a sex and dating expert interview them about their love lives and anything that came up on the date. Sometimes we get into sexy stuff. Sometimes it gets very deep. We do about 8 minutes with them and then bring on another couple. And yeah, it's a super fun night. There's not really anything like it here. So
That is actually a really brilliant idea.
It's a really fun concept.
Can I do that? Do you have a celeb version? No, I'm kidding. No, I'm curious about that.
Yeah, come along. I mean, come
I
and put your
plan to
name
come.
in the
When I
in the
say I'm
bucket.
gonna come, I'm gonna come.
Hell yeah.
But damn, okay. And where did that? Does that inspirato from within?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, there's loads of comedy shows around that deal with the topic of dating. I think a lot of it was I had a pretty bad breakup about a year or so before coming up with the show.
testify.
Yeah, right. And just trying to meet people here is a disaster. Dating apps I just couldn't get on with.
Don't listen to him. He's lying, everybody. Oh my God, right?
Have you got some kind of big dating app sponsor? I'm supposed to.
No, I'm not in any.
Not yet.
No. What are
Yeah,
you talking about? That's my twin brother, and I'm not lying, actually.
sure. But
He's a whore.
yeah,
I'm
just-
kidding. Oh, did I say that? I didn't say that. Excuse me.
so I figured, what could be worse than just having a date with someone for the first time in front of an audience full of people?
Or worse.
nothing.
What could be worse?
That's the worst
actually?
thing, actually.
Yeah,
I just love that there's like normal comedian thoughts though. It's like we should do this on stage with an audience. Like that's like the thought for everything.
exactly.
Do you think all comedians, or the plurality of them, are major extroverts?
No.
No, not in my
Okay.
opinion, no.
I think it's the opposite.
All right. And
Yeah.
so they use this moment to get themselves out of the shell.
Yeah, I think there is like everyone's kind of doing a version of themselves that is an extrovert. Like at least for me, like I know my comedy thing. It's like I'm like if I were like a fun, cool person, like this is who I would be. And then I just like go home and I'm like watching TV alone. Like I don't want to talk to
Sarah
anyone.
Silverman says the same. She actually
Yeah.
does say that she's playing a character.
Yeah.
'Cause sometimes she says some really outlandish, racist even things that's a character, but at the same time, it's coming from an essence of many people who think that way. Not to quote the people that say, he just says it like it is.
Yeah.
Fuck off. But how does the creative process give way to this type of production element? Because we talked about how to, mounting the comedy clubhouse and things like that. But your creative processes, what are they? John, let's start with you, and I'm going to film some of this stuff.
Leave my phone behind. That's how I can get into the creative process.
Leave
It
your
takes
phone behind.
not have my phone on me, not have my laptop around, nothing like that. I actually just moved into a new place in Barcelona with a rooftop, and it's sick. I love it. So I got there with my book. I have a really nice like leather writing book. It's like hand bound. It's too nice to write business stuff in. That was my thing. It cost me like 30 euros, and it's so nice.
Is it
that I wouldn't-
moleskin?
It's not. It's even better than moleskin. So I wouldn't even dream about writing a to-do list in it or something like that. It's when I have it in my hand. It's like it's only worthy of creative output. And then I go up to my rooftop and I sit for about an hour and I don't write anything most of the time. Sometimes stuff comes, or sometimes stuff comes in the shower, or about once every 6 months I'll have a night where I don't sleep and I'll keep waking up and writing something down or something like that.
Was there anybody when you were younger that really inspired your format into comedy or of comedy?
Not really. I mean, I would watch comedy and I would kind of like it. But for me, what got me into it, I think a lot of people, it's a certain amount of arrogance. I went to see an open mic, and I think there was about 10 comedians doing 5 minutes each, and 9 out of 10 of them weren't very funny. So I saw that and I thought, you know what, I'm way better than they are. And I jumped into it. And I mean, now that I've been doing it for 7 or 8 years, I realized that probably they were quite funny, but they were just doing an open mic and trying out a bunch of new thoughts that they'd just come up with. And maybe the show just didn't have the right vibe or whatever it was, But in my youthful naivety, I launched into stand-up comedy and thought I was good. Was dumb enough to think I was good.
Have you got a favorite comedian?
Yeah, I like Kyla Cobbler. She's one of my
fan.
favorites. Genuinely, she's a local
Yeah,
comedian
you said
here, but
that.
she's wicked.
She's wicked
Clever.
smart.
She does some amazing crowd work. She'll do a thing where she'll talk with almost everybody in the room and remember everybody's names.
So impressive.
And then connect them all together somehow, and it's really amazing.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, she's brilliant.
Where's she from?
She's
Ireland.
Irish.
Of course.
I love them so much. I swear to God.
And if people are listening live right now, there's about 4 more tickets left for her Fringe show. If it's not already sold out, it might already be sold out, but that's an option.
And her name again is
Kyla Cobbler.
Yeah, with
It's
with
one night
K.
only.
One night only.
Yeah.
Although she will host Friday Night Live and
Spotlight.
and the Spotlight, so she'll be hosting.
But if you want
a
to see
few
her
other
hour,
things.
you know.
True.
Exactly.
So her, I like James Acaster. He's very funny. Anthony Jeselnik, I like as well. I actually missed him when he came to Barcelona recently, but he's one of my sort of old school favorites. And some I've got to meet as well. I got to meet Mark Normand earlier this year, and that was amazing. He came down to the clubhouse, and he's a nice guy.
So none of that "don't meet your idols" thing.
Not in his case. No, not for anyone that I've met so far. There's certainly no one that I'm going to talk about right now.
Everyone's been so nice. I feel like comedians in general are like, because I always think like comedians are interesting, like celebrity figures, because like all comedians like started like where we are of just like going to open mics and like do it. I don't know. I feel like there's something about like they don't have that like actor pretension maybe that. Right, like actors have this thing of like, oh, like I'm an artist and I'm like creative. I don't know. Comedians are just like, I don't know. We're just like silly guys.
Can I please ask everybody here, since we're all from different countries? Well, 1, 3, 4. Did you kind of slightly, but never show it, abhor the actor kids in high school?
Oh, I mean, I was an actor kid in high
you
school, so
were.
yeah, hell yeah.
Because I couldn't
you hate
stand them,
yourself?
I was a
What do we
not a
call them,
self-hating.
though? The thespians.
Yeah, theater.
Thespian,
Yeah, I was a theater kid.
Were you a theater kid?
I think I wanted.
lie,
I
Jesus
wanted
is
to
in
be.
here. You wanted
I wanted to be in all the school plays. I never got a good role. I went to an all-boys school in London, and we did a production of Fiddler on the Roof. Not a Jewish school, by the way. And I'm from a Jewish background, and I was cast.
Thank you, me
as
too.
yeah.
What?
I was cast as a male villager in the first act, and in the second act, for some reason, I have no idea why to this day, I was a female villager. So I transitioned. At
That's
the
historically
interval.
accurate, actually,
Yeah.
for English, theater history.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
I feel like as a Jewish kid, I should have at least got like a decent role. You know.
they
You could have been Yentl.
What? Motherfucker! No, I'm just kidding. Now, when you was there any? I just have to know. Did you get racist jokes and stuff thrown at you for being a little Jewish boy?
At school?
Yeah.
No, because
Okay, cool.
my school was in North London, which is basically like the
Okay.
center of Jewishness in London. So there was quite a lot of us.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no, I didn't get a lot of racism at school.
All right,
It's
but
not
Fiddler
really-
on the Roof. Oh god.
Yeah.
Do you like musicals?
I love musicals.
you?
Yeah. I know you're like liking me less and less as this conversation goes
I
on.
don't know. You remind me of one of my homegirls. This is
Yeah?
why I don't know why we haven't connected again.
I know.
So we're gonna make
So
that won't happen. That won't happen again.
Yeah,
But
we won't let it be
I'm
5
one of
years.
those gays that doesn't like musicals unless it's like Disney.
Take your card away.
Take my card away. No, my girl Kelly says you're just going through a phase. You're not real.
You like Frozen though, right? You're telling me about Frozen. That's sort of a musical-ish.
Yeah.
No, I don't like Frozen.
You were singing me Frozen.
I no. You said something. I was like, "Don't sing. Are you gonna sing Frozen now?" And
I
please don't.
was never gonna sing
You
Frozen.
said, "You got to let it go." I'm like, "Oh my god, I would have vomit." But
A little bit of a
musicals,
banger, that one.
A little bit of a musical.
It's I love musicals. I mean, that's like
I do like some. Have you got a favorite?
Oh my god, my favorite musical. Ooh. Well, that I've seen recently was Hades Town was so good. That's like a newer one. That was the music was by what is her name? But it's like about like the Greek myth of Euripides and Orpheus, right? And so it's like she's the one who like Hades like convinces her to go to the underworld, and then Orpheus is like, no, but I love her, and he like goes to the underworld to like try to get her, and strikes a deal with Hades. Well, it's like it's beautiful, and like
they made a musical of that.
yeah, it's a musician named what is her name?
Is it Saint Vincent?
No,
She's
no,
doing one.
but she's I'll look it up right now. But it was
Speaking of Sarah Silverman, she has I think a comedy musical out called The Bedwetter in Broadway, which is one of the biggest hits of last year.
That was
really
the name of her book.
because that was her. But it was Hades Sounds Anais Mitchell.
Anais Mitchell.
Yeah, it was like a.
Is she
kind of
Ronnie
folk musician.
Mitchell's family? I'm just kidding. All right, guys, musicals. I'm just curious.
I like a musical here and there. When I was younger, I went to see the We Will Rock You musical with my family, and I loved it. I love Queen.
He scared the
yeah.
shit out of me growing up.
Oh god,
I'm
I
gonna
said
be really honest.
Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, his teeth scared me.
Oh yeah.
When I was a kid.
the wrong name. I said the wrong name of the character. Eurydice, not what did I say? Euripides. It's like a Greek philosopher. Anyway,
We're gonna wax on now. We had asked you a question. we didn't ask you a question. What is your creative process when you're getting into it? And did you have anybody that inspired you? And then Lady Hannah too.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up listening to this British stand-up comedy in the car with my dad and stuff that was probably way too adult for me, and most of it went over my head. But I remember listening to people like Ben Elton and Rowan Atkinson, who, you know, older people might be listening to this will know who they are, but if you've heard of shows like Blackadder, like classic British shows, they wrote a lot of that. And I never wanted to be a stand-up comedian. It just kind of dawned on me one day. I was listening to some podcasts with comedians talking, and I was like, that sounds like quite a fun lifestyle. And I just started thinking of jokes in the shower, and then one day I went along to an open mic here and gave it a try, and I was bad, but not so bad that I never wanted to do it again. So
What was your first open mic here?
It was it called LOL at Limerick that Robert used to run?
Yeah,
Wow.
the originals.
Yeah. So I did some bit about why Conguitos are racist, got like maybe 2 giggles and thought that's enough. I felt validated enough to carry on.
Ooh, that's the stuff.
Yeah, I need to go back to that bit. There's definitely something in that, but yeah, haven't quite-
they are
You wanna talk
racist.
about it?
You're
Let's
right
talk
about
it,
that. Yeah.
Because down south they call rice and beans moros y cristianos. You can find these things called brazos de gitanos.
Yeah.
They call green beans green Jews.
Yeah.
There's
a
an
bit about
element of things that you're welcome. Because I just talked about this with my uni session yesterday. Like, why the? Because you're not gonna.
And
find
they're just
this.
like, but it's not. They're like, but it's just what we call it. It's not racist. And I'm
It's
like,
that colonized
yeah,
mindset of motherfuckers.
but why are you calling it that? Like,
But it's not even that those conguitos are called conguitos. It's they have a literal illustration
It's a
of a
mascot.
colonial, which like it's like over time as they've got criticism, the world's become a bit more awake to this stuff. They've like morphed
it.
it, so
Yeah.
it
Well, I
looks a
think
little
they've-
bit like an amorphous blob.
I think they got rid of it totally now.
Is it gone?
I think so.
God,
I
it's
still
a
won't
bit
buy
anymore.
conguitos. Like I still won't do it. But
yeah,
No,
but then they
you
were
do
like,
a bit
oh, we
about the food and the racist.
they started making like peanut butter cups, and I won't buy them. I still am like, I see them, and I'm like, I would love a peanut butter cup.
Can you hear my stomach? Hannah, you can hear my stomach.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Mama.
But you made the green thing, the green beans thing, the judías thing, like that. When I first moved here, that threw me because they had it.
Frijoles, anybody?
Yeah.
Alubias, please.
Yeah.
But I worked in a big company, like, and everyone spoke English, and we had this cantina where we'd eat, and they had judías asadas in the canteen, but they translated it into English for us, but they translated it directly.
No.
Can I say it on the radio? I don't know. Can I say it?
Yeah, because we're not those types of people, but
Sure. I mean, it literally said oven roasted Jews on the menu.
So bonkers.
And I was like, what is
This
this?
is where your joke starts.
Yeah. It said, it was years later. I found out it's the same word, like judías and green beans. I think it's because of like where they came from originally.
Well, what is the history of Catalonia? What does Montjuic mean? Where's Vall d'Hebron in the world? Where's Carmel in the world?
Yeah.
This is the thing. The
Yeah.
history of Spain with the Jews were up here. Al-Andalus was done there. And then the mix in 1492, get the fuck out. And this is
Yeah.
why we have so many pigs, because it was a way to determine who eats what.
Do you
Yeah.
think it was a mistake that like maybe they were meant to throw out green beans and they just messed it up?
Well,
Like the king and queen were like, we hate these, get rid of them, and everyone's like,
No,
okay,
because-
and just threw the Jews out.
even with that, in Catalan, they call them monjetas, which means nuns.
Yeah.
Little nuns.
Little nuns.
Right.
Interesting.
It's fun.
It's so silly. Language is so silly.
Like, this is like this is interesting. It's again a hashtag blessed moment.
Yeah.
Anybody that inspired you? No, you did talk about that. Excuse me, Rowan
Yeah.
Atkinson. Not Mr. Bean though, right? Did that
I
annoy
mean-
you? Please tell me somebody else annoyed them.
I mean, growing up, everyone loved Mr. Bean. I mean,
Did they?
it's-
'Cause I did
It's
not.
brilliant slapstick humor, but I liked his written stuff. I'm a big fan of well-written stuff. More.
Okay.
Like, everything he did.
Brightly intelligent man, but I
Yeah.
did not like Mr. Bean. I wanted to
never got
stab him
into it.
in the eyes.
But the genius of Mr. Bean was because it was just it was physical that
Yeah.
it could translate all over the world. So he made so much money out of Mr. Bean because anyone could watch Mr. Bean.
All the airlines took it up, right? All the airlines bought the rights for it. Or
Right? Yeah, because you don't
Everybody
even need.
did. Oh my God, we
Yeah.
grew up with that too. I'm more of a Saunders, Ribby Wax. You know Jennifer Saunders, of course.
Yeah,
you
of
do.
course. I mean,
And this everything from them.
My favorite program, probably still my favorite sitcom to watch, and where my sense of humor comes from, I think, is The Young Ones. If you saw like Rick Mail, Adrian Ibbotson, because it was just so weird and wacky and alternative. That's not even what I do.
80s though
but
too. isn't
yeah,
it? Yeah.
I mean, I'm a bit old, so just the surrealist.
None of us, we're thin, young, and gorgeous. I don't know what this fuck's talking about. Lady H, what about you? Hold on, I gotta get this.
Oh God, my comedy inspirations.
Hells to the yeah. Well, and what your process of what led you to that as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I grew up. I'm also from like a Jewish family, and so we all think that we're
How
funny.
do you feel, John?
But yeah, definitely I come from a family that like humor was important and like comedy was important, and yeah, we watched, I watched like a lot of Seinfeld growing up, so definitely have like that was like a big influence in
Seinfeld. It's
yeah.
aged interestingly.
Yeah, I mean, I've done a rewatch of it recently, and some of it's like it's so funny because like some episodes you're like, this is timeless, like this is amazing, this is brilliant, and other things you're like, this is so ridiculous, like I can't believe that this was on television. But yeah, so I loved Seinfeld. My dad was really into Monty Python, so I watched a lot of like Flying Circus growing up. Like we had all the DVDs of the whole series, and so that was like a fun game. You just like pick a random DVD.
Well, not even
and, like,
VHS. You had the DVD.
The DVDs,
Rock on,
yeah.
girl.
And so yeah, I loved like that kind of like absurd, weird stuff. But then like in terms of stand up, like the first stuff I remember listening to was like Mitch Hedberg. Like I don't even like one liners,
peace.
but like
Oh my
I know rest in peace. Like
God.
but like I loved Mitch Hedberg. It was like I thought it was so funny, so brilliant. All of the lines.
I am really surprised by that. I love
Yeah,
hearing that.
loved Mitch Hedberg.
Thank you, MTV, for showing me who he was.
Yeah, he was great, and like it's interesting to think like what he could have done if if
already
he
know.
hadn't
Again, and it comes
Done
up
too many
again. Child,
drugs.
you already know. Let's throw on. Okay, well, can I say who mine were?
yeah go for it.
Jewish women, yo.
Yeah.
Straight up, Joan fucking Rivers is my
Yeah.
So good.
bitch from
Love
ever.
her.
She is my queen, and I love her. I already said Sarah Silverman.
Love
I
Sarah
love
Silverman,
me
yeah.
some Amy Schumer, honestly.
Yeah.
From really back in like 15 years ago. To
Yeah.
now. I just really admire her. And George motherfucking Carlin. That is my boy. You can feel me with the politics shit, and a lot of that comes from him.
Yeah.
And my deep dives into things because of George Carlin as a young kid. So anyway, that's enough nerding out. Let's talk about some music. This is a little indie track, folks, that we're going to get to, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about the Fringe Festival that's going to go on again from the 1st through the 10th of November. We're going to be plying you with things from the club with Lucas and RCE, as well as links to get tickets to that, which are already selling out. So get your ass on that. But this is The Cleaners from Venus. It's actually an indie band from the UK, from the 80s, actually. And it's sophistopop. And if you don't know what that is, you got to learn. This is Helpless, and we'll be right back in 2.5 minutes, and with another friend joining us, two loves.
Walking around, I'm looking for something. I'm taking my time. I'm seeing
I mean, y'all, that was the cleaners from Venus, and we were just shouting out Venus O'Hara, who this beautiful man, Mr. Regal, is going to be doing a show with, and Venus is going to be there to help promote the comedy of things that are going to be tested there. Venus, I love you. We do need to get some pizza, my love, by the way. Grr. Vegan pizza. Vegan. Now, also, we're being joined by another lively lady here. Thank you so much for joining us, honestly.
Was that an accent?
It was some sort of an accent, dearie. And
It's not Australian. It's just
Okay.
something
it's
else.
not. It's something from the Northern English versus Scott. I don't know where it's from,
Wow,
but
this is getting very multi.
we're from the States. So
Yeah.
we don't. But welcome. Thank you for joining us here at the club.
Thank you
and
so
we did this
much.
in literally 2.25 minutes. So thank you, everybody. We got water, peed, and you joined us.
So impressive.
By the way, have you noticed that here they're starting to say literalmente a lot here?
Yeah, I've heard that
literalmente.
for sure.
Literalmente, tío.
I love that, actually.
I don't like how California speak comes here. The en plan como, it's like, that's
Yeah,
en
I
plan-
do love the en plan.
En plan como, okay. All right, look,
O
please
sea-
introduce yourself because we just did a round of what spurned your creative process and some of the people that have inspired you. And please tell everybody your good name.
Okay, my name is Michelle Ahern. I am an Australian, and you can probably hear that from my... I feel like I get more Australian the more time I spend here in Barcelona. Even saying Barcelona. But yes, so I'm very new to comedy, unlike these legends around the table, but I'm very new to comedy. I've coming up to my 2 years since my first open mic set that I did in London, but I actually got into comedy. It was more of I'd never done it before in my life. I was always a huge fan of comedy, grew up watching a lot of sketch comedy. There's some amazing sketch comedy programs in Australia that were always really inspiring to me. And the guys that went on to make all the working dog production films like The Castle and Kath and Kim and those guys, they were all my favourite comedians. I actually even studied them in high school. So I was always a lover of comedy, but never really aspired to actually do it myself. And then I had a massive life change, shall we call it, about 2 years ago. The shit really hit the fan. Am I allowed to say that word on radio? The shit really hit the fan, and I suddenly was just like, it was actually quite a traumatizing situation. I found out my husband was having an affair, which kind of sounds a bit, unfortunately, it's very commonplace now, but it was really jarring at the time. But it was also just such a bizarre situation that I started going, this is so absurd. I was writing things down, and I just thought, I feel like I need to talk about this. I feel like I need to laugh in the face of this. And I literally turned to him during the breakdown and I said, I'm going to figure out how to be a comedian, and I'm going to write a one-woman show about this, and I'm going to go to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, which just seemed like such a ridiculous thing to do. And then I found myself on the other side of the world. I found myself in Barcelona practicing comedy, and I was like, I'm writing this show, and I did it. So it was a bit of a weird sort of, entry into the whole world. But anyway, that's, believe it or not, that's the short version.
No, I do believe that. I went through something very similar 2 years ago, and you went through a breakup a year and a half ago.
Yeah, more like 2-3 years ago now. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
there we go. So 2021, 22. I guess I felt like when it happened, I don't know if you did, you two did, like we survived the pandemic, and now we're going to break up. Or
Yeah.
maybe yours went to shit during the pandemic. Mine
Yeah,
was right
I mean,
after as we were coming out.
Mine's also a long story, which I'm currently trying to write a show about. I feel like it's been a few years and it's time to, and now I have the perspective on it. And some interesting stuff has kind of happened as an epilogue to that breakup too, which makes the show more interesting. But Michelle's hour about it is just, it's so cool because it's like, it's funny, but I've never seen people get so emotional watching a comedy show. I know you sometimes don't even call it a comedy show as such, do you? It's like,
I think I struggled with that as well because when I first started coming to the comedy club and I obviously used like stand-up was the skill set that I was sort of, trying to hone because I just thought if I need to tell this story, I feel like it's a necessary skill to have no matter what you want to do with comedy or performing or storytelling. And so I started doing stand-up, and then when I came to write the show, I genuinely felt guilty doing it on the stage at the Comedy Clubhouse. I was like almost apologizing to people going, this isn't really all going to be funny, but I don't know what to call it, but let's just go with it. And so, yeah, I guess I call it comedy storytelling. I know that sounds a bit of a very sort of bland turn of phrase, but yeah, it's not straight stand up.
Yeah, but that is also how a lot of Edinburgh one woman, one man show kind of things are. Is it's like it is stand up, but there's also the emotional part, and there
It's definitely
story,
a fringe show as
Yeah.
opposed to it's not a straight stand up show that I would tour in comedy clubs, but
Yeah.
I mean, I have done that. And people go, that's what the other thing that's so fascinating is I thought if people aren't laughing every 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, I'm not doing my job. But someone said to me a while ago, if you're not being funny, at least be interesting. And so the first time I started telling the story, and I thought, oh, people listen. Like, I was really genuinely surprised by how interested people are just in each other. And I think that's one of the things I love most about comedy is that people are up for hearing who you are and what you've got to say, even if you're not cracking jokes all the time. And that was probably the biggest learning curve for me, is like to lean into that. So yeah,
That's something I've been trying to think of more, because I write jokey jokes, but a persona is really important as to be a memorable comedian, and that's something that I'm trying to work through at the moment. But people always remember not necessarily the jokes you said, but how you made them feel when they walk out of the show. And I think with your show, like, everyone felt something, and it was very, very memorable.
yeah.
So like you said, it's even if you're not making like joke, like while you watch your hour, you're just feeling all these things, and you're with you on that journey, and you definitely remember it afterwards. So
Yeah, and it's been incredibly, genuinely healing and very cathartic to just be able to like put it out there. I think for some people, they process things by keeping them private or sharing them just with friends. I was like, no, I think we'll take this one to the stage.
That's what I said. That's what I said before. Comedians, we're just obsessed with like. I feel like this needs to have an audience. Like I think everything is better if there's like at least 20 people in a room listening to me say this or do this. Like,
But
it's
it-
like such an insane like
But
way
it
that we all
does
think.
take the impetus, I think, out of the pain. Like, I know there's been days where I've just had like a really bad day, just about anything in particular, or nothing in particular. And you're like, do you know what? I just need to go and jump on the mic for like 5 minutes and
Yeah.
just talk about whatever, the color of coffee cups or something. And just that shared connected experience of I laughed, you laughed, I felt a bit awkward, you enjoyed it, thanks very much. And it's just, it takes you from this negative headspace to just like, everything's okay. It's just
Yeah.
like a snap, and it's so...
but it's not a substitute for therapy.
Definitely not.
Because if you go on stage and you treat the audience like your therapist, it's so icky.
Yeah.
And people realize that very quickly. Like, you need to be... No one has everything figured out, but yeah, you need to, on some level, have come to terms with the thing that you're expressing, I think. Otherwise, it feels bitter, it feels
Yeah.
selfish, right? Like, you
Or
have to be able to-
self-indulgent as
Yeah.
well. I think you don't want to, you can't trauma dump. Like, the audience feels it. And that's one of the things I learned, like, very early on. I did like a 5-day, like how to do stand-up comedy. I did a course in London. And that was the first thing the instructor said to me when I said my story and what I wanted to do. He just said, whatever you do is like, do not work out your trauma on stage. The audience will know, like, you need to be at the right point in your journey. And like, and for me, it was a time relevant thing where I wanted to do it soonish, but I needed to be comfortable with what I was saying. So it's that striking that balance. And like you're saying, James, with you're now just coming up to being ready to talk about your stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look at Baby Reindeer. Like, this year was a massive example of that. It was huge, but yeah, that happened to him years ago, and he wrote the show years ago as well. But it's all he questions his whole perspective on the whole thing. So it's not just, oh, this horrible lady was horrible to me.
And she's countersuing him now.
Yeah, which is insane.
Yeah.
Like,
So I went through a similar thing. Someone tried to sue me over this as well. So
yeah.
Him?
Wild.
yeah, and his partner.
Are we allowed to mention the comments?
Yeah, like, to be honest with you, I was thinking about this morning, and sorry, I feel like I've just come in and just talking over everybody.
No, we've been here an hour and a half, love. We've been waiting for you.
I think that's the other aspect to this that I was incredibly mindful of when I was like, I want to tell a true story. It's like, there's people involved in this that I care about, no matter whose behaviour is what. Everybody's still entitled to their privacy and their version of the truth. But, I found out my husband was having an affair. I started writing this story, and I was very mindful of like what I said and sort of, keeping certain things private.
You kicked him out.
Yeah, well, I was actually, to be honest with you, it wasn't end of days for me when I found out about the affair. I was like, sometimes good people make poor choices. But then we actually, funnily enough, then after I found out about the affair, speaking of it being around the pandemic, we both actually got COVID, and we ended up in lockdown together for a week, just as I'd found out. So we were then in this 7-day incubator of do we, don't we?
San Antonio.
And we did like a 2-day intensive therapy online
With COVID.
with COVID, and my therapist's name was Madonna. And this is where I was like, I don't even need to make this shit up. The story writes itself. But yeah, and that was kind of when my then husband left and ended up staying with the other woman. And then I found out pretty quickly they were having a baby and sorts of things happened. And then, so all of this, I started to write down and I started talking about certain elements of it on stage. And then I'd put like one Instagram, I put one like reel on Instagram, because the way I used to talk about it was I'd say, oh, I just got fired from being a wife, because that's what it felt like. It was literally like he'd come in and gone, right, services are no longer required, you can pack your things and go, like, because it was just so sudden. And so that's the joke I used to do on stage. I got fired from being a wife. Turns out it was more of a redundancy, and I'd sort of do this joke about being replaced. And so that's what he was trying to sue me for defamation over that. So I had to hire a defamation lawyer. But because I knew at that time I was going to write this show for Edinburgh, I was like, right, if I've got to pay a lawyer to get me, you know, help me through this situation. She was incredible, this woman that I hired. And she said to me, tell me anything you would ever think you might want to say about the situation and I'll tell you whether or not you can do it. So she we proactively, like, you know, canvassed the entire story. And she went, if you want to say this, say it like that. If you want to do this, do it like that. So going into writing the show for Edinburgh, I knew that I kind of had covered all bases in terms of how to say certain things. But that certainly didn't stop the situation. And I knew, so obviously my husband stayed with the other woman. And throughout Edinburgh, while I was performing the show, there was an inordinate amount of very personal negative reviews for my show, wasn't there, James?
'cause
How does that affect you guys? I want to know.
Because you can leave on an Edinburgh show, you can, on the ticket page on the main website, anyone can leave a review if they've been to see the show, but also apparently if they're not, they just have to register an email, right?
Yeah.
And Michelle had all these crazy things that it was just like, oh, this was terrible. And then just things that like weren't even said in the show. I can't remember specific example. And you didn't even want to see them at one point.
No, I sort of saw the first few and thought, oh, wow, people have come to the show and really not enjoyed it. And then I was looking at some of the language and I was like, no, this is not even describing what happens in the show, because the tone of the show, quite honestly, is, I think, very respectful. It's emotional. It's about me losing my stepdaughter and what it's like, you know, when your world blows up. And I think I'm quite respectful of everybody involved in the story, and there's no real names and all that sort of stuff. So it's just interesting that obviously the negative comments were coming from somebody that hadn't actually seen the tone of it. They'd just assumed what might be in a story like this, and it was just saying that I'm bitter and all this sort of stuff, and that's like just not the tone of the show at all. If anything, people are like, why are you not more angry? Like,
but that's, I mean, to answer your question, I think that stuff's easy to ignore. It's upsetting, but it's obviously coordinated and false. But if you're just doing a comedy show and someone doesn't like it or they leave a bad review, which doesn't happen, I don't think we get targeted with bad reviews. Only if you're at a festival.
Not if people come to the shows. If
Yeah.
people come and like
Yeah.
see what we're doing, you just absorb the atmosphere. You see the love, you see all of that stuff. But we absolutely get some comments on Facebook and Reddit
my
and
God.
stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, from people who have no idea who we are and who are just, I don't know. Yeah, there's one guy who's obsessed with us. He comments on, I'm not going to say the name, but he comments on like every single thing we post on Facebook, every single ad, and it's just like always some like bad joke of like, oh, like that guy, blah blah blah. Like it just never. And I'm like, dude, you're obsessed with us.
He
like,
loves us.
Come,
Yeah.
just like come to the come to a show, like talk to us. Like don't you want to like come? Like you should come to Absolute Chaos during the Fringe,
And
because
heckle.
it's like come and just yell these things out to a real person. Like maybe he's never talked to a real person before. Maybe that's, I don't know. Like I feel like he's just like.
But these
a
people
weird,
don't
lonely
understand,
guy.
like, what we do is we're on stage and we're getting live feedback
Yeah.
all the time. Like,
Yeah.
you tell a joke and no one laughs, or like someone shouts, "You're crap," which luckily doesn't really happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, okay, leave your comment, like, ouch. You know, that's...
Well, he's just missing it as well. So some of the comments will be on like a clip that of Kyla telling a joke, for example, and he'll go, you know, that was the worst thing ever. I want to kill myself or something. But it's like you're just missing what's happening, because
Yeah.
everybody that sees Kyla perform knows that she's a superstar. You know, like
Yeah.
she's selling out shows all over Ireland. So he's objectively just wrong in these situations.
Yeah.
So it's easy to ignore those.
I got a comment the other day on my Instagram, and this is sort of stuff, and it's just like, why? And it was like on a photo of me on stage, and I often wear what I'm wearing now, which is like sort of shorts and boots, and somebody had written, oh wow, like look at your cellulite, or something like that. Because in one of my photos, because I'm quite animated on stage and I was sort of like doing a pose like this. And it's like, I was really proud of the photo because I'm like, I'm having fun expressing myself.
Yeah.
And someone had written that and I was just like, yeah, because that's actually why I get on stage so that you can all comment on like whether or not my legs are
Again,
perfect.
was it a
Yeah.
woman or a man?
Do you know? So funnily enough, it was a female. Obviously, it's always a woman with a comment like that. But it was
Do
sadly.
men know what cellulite is?
No, they're just like ass.
Literally,
Gay men do.
my boyfriend the other day was like, "Oh, like, is your leg like okay?" Like, cause he was like, "Do you have like a?" And I was like, "No, babe, it's just cellulite. Like, what are you doing? Like, I'm just fat. I don't know. Like, it's just how my body." And he was like, "Oh my god!" Like, he thought that like I like had hurt myself or something. And he was like, "Oh, it's okay."
Isn't
I
that
had no idea? I had no idea what
It's
it
so
was.
funny. That's why I knew that this comment was like definitely female because I was like, any guy would just look at it and go ass.
Yeah.
Like, they're not noticing. But funnily enough, that person recently wrote something else, and I think that it might be connected to other negative comments. It's just like, oh, like why would you care who I am and what I'm doing? Like honestly, I'm a nobody.
Have you been heckled before?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it happens.
But I think audiences they're kind. It's like in the UK they're a lot more cheeky because everyone in, particularly like up north, everyone thinks they're a comedian, so they'll just like try and say something funny. I feel like here, like we don't get like aggressive heckles. Often it's just someone just comments weird, like they just add their own commentary to it, and you're like, okay, what was the point of that? And often it's in a kind of broken English as well. The main issue for me on performing here is just people just sometimes talk like, and I hate to say this, but it seems to be the culture in like the Spanish and Catalan where they'll just have a full-on conversation in the middle of a show.
Yeah.
And it's like, hi, what's going on?
In the middle of a massive concert, they'll be doing that.
Yeah.
Bruce and Madonna, it happened recently. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
It's
What,
so
you paid
bizarre.
$300 for this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To have a chat, like you could have put it on TV.
And to hear someone's opinion on usually. Okay, let's throw a little bit of a music on before we come back. We have a little more to wrap up and also to throw out information where everybody can get this stuff. This is something you chose, my brother.
We're going for.
And I'm going to get a shout out to Rolo because we actually lost this brother earlier this year or late last year. Faithless was one of my favorite. I mean, Dido came from these motherfuckers. If you didn't know that, if you'd remember who she is, look it up, bitches. And when I saw this, anytime I think about his passing, it really pissed me off. 'Cause I didn't expect it. He was, young. But We Come One. Why did you choose this one? I have to ask.
So Faithless are my favorite music group of all time.
Underworld for me, but fuck yeah.
Yeah, and I was thinking, they have a lot of great songs. I was like, I want something upbeat for radio because I like a lot of their more like down tempo stuff. And We Come One is just it's just an absolute banger.
It's just honestly. And so, folks, we're going to give you a little bit of banger here. This is We Come One, We Come One, We Come Together by Faithless, and we'll be right back in 3.5 minutes.
All the subtle flavors of my life are become bitter seeds and poison leaves without you. You represent what's true. I drain the color from the sky and turn blue without you. These arms lack a purpose, flapping like a hummingbird. I'm nervous 'cause I'm the left eye, you're the right. Would it not be madness to fight? We come one. In you, the song which rights my wrongs. In you, the fullness of living. The power to begin again from right now. In you, in you, in you, in you, in you, in you, in
You already know, Faithless. And yes, apparently they are going to be, and I was not wrong. Rolo did not die. I'm sorry. It was the other guy. I'm sorry.
R.I.P. Maxi Jazz.
I don't know why I messed that up. Now I'm a little embarrassed, but we're going to move on. Now, also, because we're wrapping up the show, what is something that you really want to get across to your audiences when you're performing, specifically now, but in a general sense? What is something that you like to, contribute or portray for your audience when you're performing? I know everyone wants to get a laugh, but you've got yours can help people. Okay.
Yeah, I think for me, it's at the risk of sounding really naff, it's vulnerability and authenticity, like genuinely getting on stage and going, this is genuinely how I feel about a thing, or, as opposed to going, what's the funny version of this? It's like, no, how do I actually really feel about this or think about this? And just sort of having the courage to just be your own awkward self. They're kind of things that are really important to me to try and maintain. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For me, dream situation is to identify something that everyone sort of agrees on, but is too ashamed to say out loud. And if you can get that, and you can say it, and you can make people laugh, and make them laugh because they are that person, like you are that person. That's amazing. That's a real thrill.
Yeah, that's good. I think for me, it's like I love, because I do a lot of like kind of feministy leaning stuff, or like girl jokes, and I love when I can get like straight men to laugh at my jokes about like periods and stuff. I don't know, there's something powerful about that for me. That's like, I'm making jokes that are like, with female comedians I always talk about this, and it's like, because it's funny, like, fuck you. That's why we're talking about it. And so if I can get kind of, or I can get, I don't know, when I get people to laugh that I don't expect to laugh, like I'm like, it's this feeling of like bringing everyone together on something. It's magical.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going out there with like a higher purpose, but I just always love anything where I get to connect with people, and you tell a joke or do something on stage and people laugh, and it's like an involuntary reaction. It's just it's the greatest feeling. Like, I used to DJ, and it was the same feeling I got when I put a track on and people would go mad and dance. It's like you've done a thing and it's done something to the energy in the room. But right now I'm just focusing on trying to go out and have as much fun on stage, and I think that instead of being so in my head about what I'm trying to do, it's just go and have fun. And I think people just vibe off a guy or a girl or a person having fun on stage and trying to give of themselves to you. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
See, we wrap that up, and everybody gets a nice little Instagram snippet for later.
Lovely.
Now, again, this is going to be happening. The Barcelona Fringe Festival kicks off on the 10th. Now, on the 1st, through the 10th. What is going on the 1st? Because it seems like one big wham bam shebang.
So many things. So many things happening throughout the whole festival. So yeah, the first we open with Kyla Cobbler's show. We've got Tama Katan. We've got a whole bunch of amazing comedians. George Zacharopoulos is one I'm looking forward to. He won the Best European Comedian prize this week.
Where at?
It's from a company called European Comedy, which I made up. I invented it, and it's real, if anyone asks.
Selfreferential.com.
And who else? We got Michelle Wolf doing a massive show at Gollum's Theatre. That's sort of the flagship show, I would say, of the Barcelona Fringe.
Our best of Barcelona Fringe. Or whoever is there on the side.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. And we have weird stuff. We have really wacky, strange stuff. I'm really excited to see a flea circus. I've known about flea circuses for years. As soon as I knew,
for real?
They're
But they're not for real.
They're for real. Yeah, so they have fleas, and they make these tiny little kind of like harnesses that they put on the fleas, and then the fleas can joust sometimes, or they'll kind of sword fight, or they'll have chariot races where they pull a chariot.
No.
Yeah, it's real, and there's probably only 10 of them in the world, and one of them is happening at the Barcelona Fringe Festival.
He's a fantastic clown called Adam. He's been doing it for like 30 years, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's massive commitment as well. You have to keep the fleas, you have to look after them, you have to let them drink your own blood. I know this is. I'm just using this as an example of the range of things that are available to see at the Barcelona Fringe
And we also have shows in Catalan.
Sure.
Talk about weird. Yeah, we have a couple shows in Catalan. Like Josep Català is doing a show, and Raventos, really funny guys. Irene Minovas, Arnau Garcia, and
they perform Raval too a lot.
yeah.
Wait a minute. And do we have any Spanish?
And then a lot of Spanish. Secret Comedy Club is like our center of Spanish comedy. Like Andrea Farina is doing a show. Actually, he's doing a show at
At the
Clubhouse.
clubhouse, yeah.
But yeah, Antonio Lorente. A lot of other people that there's a lot of good Spanish stuff. Hopefully next year we'll get more Spanish in Catalan because we again tight timeline, so we
Exactly.
they already had their plans.
Exactly.
But yeah, I'm most excited to see John Spillane do his show. He's one of my favorite wacky comedian guys. He does like this kind of like improvised stand up crowd work, like chaos, but he just like always controls it so well and like makes something really beautiful. So he's doing shows at a couple different places, and they'll probably be different every single time knowing him.
Can I ask you a simple but odd question?
Yeah.
Why do you do this?
Comedy or the festival?
Yeah.
Good breakdown, both.
Well, oh my God. I mean, why do any of us do comedy? I mean, because we're fucking crazy. I don't know, like we're sick. We're all like, we all need help.
Deep-seated need for approval.
Yeah, we need your validation.
Validation.
I
please.
think definitely. I mean, I think it's like what John said earlier in the program of like I think almost all of us had, maybe except for Michelle, you kind of came at it from a different place, but like I think all of us had that experience of going to an open mic and seeing people like not doing great and being like, I could do that. Like I think I could.
Yeah.
And so that's just like, it's just like a weird, this weird arrogance, this weird need to like, get approval, be on stage. And so I think like the festival is a bit like that too in a way. It's like we've just been thinking like Barcelona is a great place for comedy, and like
let's do it together.
we're like everyone should come to Barcelona and like see how amazing our comedy scene is, and we should get more people to like do shows here. And so
Do we have
that's
Edinburgh people coming?
People coming who have done a lot of Edinburgh shows,
But
are
like
coming
heads
over.
of festivals.
Yeah, we do have some agent.
It's like waiting
type,
for Guffman now.
People coming over for Kyla's show and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So
yeah.
there will be some scouts out there.
Anything you'd like to add to what Lady Hannah said about why you do your comedy?
I think the Fringe Festival, there's an element of it that's because we can, right? We're in this weird, unique position where we like have a budget
Well said.
for it to an extent. We have 100 comedians in Barcelona that are massively enthusiastic. We have people that are willing to volunteer their skills. People like James and Michelle and Ava and Alex. So yeah, we're just in a unique position that we're able to do this. So why wouldn't we?
And it's all like the delusion, it's like in so many ways it's like this is all like we're all delusional, but like then are we actually delusional because then we make stuff happen, right? Like
I think
things shouldn't work, but they do.
Sometimes I think about the comedy community here is so wild and wonderful and playful and supportive. I always feel like we're a little bit like the Little Rascals going, let's put on a show and all the people will come. And then we're like, the people came. Oh my God.
Oh my God. It's wild.
We're just making stuff up, right? We just invented it. The Fringe Festival, at this stage, we just made it up. It
Yeah.
doesn't really exist until people come. And then that's sort of what signifies it as a real thing,
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, you can say, there is an element of delusionalness and wanting approval, but also it's just the most fun thing. Like, doing comedy is so fun. It's difficult and it's scary and it can be stressful and very vulnerable, but it is so fun. And what makes it more fun is the very unique community we have here in Barcelona and the audiences, in fair, because they're from all over the world and they just want to be entertained. But I honestly think that you go to any similar sized European city, and a lot of us have traveled to do comedy. They're lovely, but nothing like here. Where it's super welcoming to people who live here, people who are visiting and want to do comedy here. We're very generous with our stage time. Hannah made this incredible document that's like the talk of the comedy world outside of here, where you can literally see every show and who you contact if you want stage time and how much you might get paid and how long they say. And it's just
Hannah.
Yeah. I mean, it was it was a collaborative effort, but I'm the one who like
Almost all Hannah.
I enforce people updating it.
But
But yeah, it's like people like we send this to people and they're like, oh my god, I've never like seen a comedy scene this organized. Like this is amazing. We've had other scenes like copy
you guys have
it.
inspired the shit out of me today, by the way, and we needed to walk.
Yeah.
You and I need to talk too.
Yeah, we have people moving to Barcelona because of this kind of
Yeah.
thing to do comedy. So
Yeah.
it's like stepping stone on the career path to becoming a sort of a professional
Yeah.
comedian is to come to Barcelona as a sort of an incubator.
we're going to be the Austin, Texas of Europe.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
It's,
There's no way.
Welcome horns. I went to school in Austin, Texas. Tell you
just
what.
fewer guns and stuff like that.
What you talking about, Adam?
Less
I was-
guns and
there's
homophobia.
There's no way I would have been able to get from like 0 to Edinburgh Fringe show in a year and a bit if I was anywhere else in the world other than Barcelona, because these guys, every single person around this table gave me an inordinate amount of stage time. It's just, you wouldn't get it anywhere else in the world as a newbie.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it was like, there's nowhere else I could have done it. It's incredible.
I want to thank you guys so much for being here, for coming in and doing
Thanks so
this.
much.
Like I said, we're gonna actually be rebroadcasting this next week. Throughout the week, you're gonna be seeing us with the links. We're gonna be throwing that at you for the next 2 weeks. And remember, folks, you can get all that information as well through Barcelona Fringe Festival at Instagram. Follow the links there as well. Do we have the online site?
Yeah, BarcelonaFringeFestival.com.
There you go, all Children of the Corn. And then, of course, like I said, we'll be throwing those links as well into the stories and the posts and whatnot. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Seriously.
Thanks for having us.
And folks, we're going to leave you with just a little bit more of that Sophistopop that I just love to throw in there because I'm a nerd. This is called No More Blue Horizon, but all you have are blue horizons and a lot of freaking rain today. So enjoy that, Children of the Corn. This is China Crisis. This is The Club with Lucas at RC 106.9. Remember, you are loved, and we will see you on the flip side. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Ciao.